Okay, so for this video we are demoing, we're going to be doing some hybrid lashes. So that combines, of course, the best of both worlds. We have classic and volume lashes. And then I will just show you an example of removal. We're just going to be doing a super light hybrid half set on this client. This is how I'm going to recommend you start your practice with live models. Just do half sets to start, because you should really only be working for about an hour to 2 hours to ensure that your model is comfortable and that you are comfortable as well, because lashing, it's a lot harder than it looks. You will notice strain on your neck, your shoulders, your hands. So really just practicing for an hour or two with a model in the beginning is sufficient. And so I'm going to show you what I mean by applying the half sets. Tilt your head up a little. With this video, I'll show you some of the volume techniques that we can use, and then I'll show you just a small example of mapping as well. Let's pretend that she is a fresh, brand new client. I'm going to show you exactly how I would treat a new client. So I would say, of course, have you had lashes before? She would say yes. And then I would say, okay, great. Do you know a length that you like? And she would say, no, I don't really know what length I used to get. So I would hand her my mirror. And then I'm gonna say, so I'll just get you to hold this and look into the mirror. And depending on your eyesight, you probably won't see the extension. You'll just see the tip of the tweezer. I always like to start with showing them, depending on their age. If they're a little bit older, I'll start with a 9. And you can ask, like, are you hoping for something more dramatic, or do you want something really natural? For the natural, we have C curl, which would be like wearing a coat or 2 of mascara. And then for a little more dramatic is the D curl, and that's like wearing 2 coats of mascara with an eyelash curler held on for like 13 seconds. Which would you like? Do you want more natural, like straighter lashes, or do you want them super curled?
A little bit more straight.
Okay. So it's sounding like she wants to have a C curl. And I'm gonna take the extension, and she's younger. So we start around a 10, and then we hold it to the lash line, and we tell the client to look into the mirror. And then you hold the lash where you would glue it on the eye, and then you instruct your client to look at the tip of the tweezer, and that's where the length and curl come to. And then you would say, do you want to see one longer or shorter? Okay, so she likes that one. And then we take the mirror away. Client, if they've thought about doing a cat eye, a doe eye, look at their lashes. So my client here is very young, as I've said. She has, so close your eyes for a moment. She has sufficient lashes on the outer edge here. She would be a candidate for a cat eye, but I would use some light volumes on the outer edge here to create that cat eye. And then because she chose a shorter lash, what we could do, since we're doing a 9C for majority of the lashes here, what I would do is go 8 for these inner corners. So imagine we're putting the eye into quarters. So for the first quarter, which would end about here, we would do 8s until about halfway. And then here we would start with the 9s. Say she chose a cat eye, then we would do 9s for the second quarter, 9s for the third quarter. And then for the transition here, we would start with maybe some 10s in the last third of the third quarter, and then transition all the way to 12s if you wanted here. 11s would be good. Since she's doing a 9, you can usually do 2 millimeters longer for that type of a look. Same thing if she wanted to do, say, 9s, 8s, always on the inner corner, then 9s. Do some 9s for the first bit of the second quarter, and then if you did 11s here, so it was more of a doe eye, 11s in this section, so you'd be doing the second and third quarter would be kind of a mix of 11s, and then on the outer edges you would do 9s, and then you could even switch back to 8s on this outer corner to really accentuate that doe eye. There's also things like a kitten eye or a squirrel eye, and that's where I would recommend those if, say, these lashes were really short and you don't think they could uphold the length of an 11 or 12, then what you could do is do like 9s, 10s on this corner, and then see where the lashes get longer here. Then you would do your 11s, 12s right here. So it would still give the cat eye effect. It's just protecting the integrity of the natural lashes. And so that would be an option for those. Okay, so let's go ahead. We've chosen our lashes. So I'll have you look up towards me, and it's okay to blink. So this client is actually my daughter. She's only 11 years old, and she's a seasoned pro with the gel pads. Not every client is going to be this great with putting on the gel pads. So look up towards me and close. So see how I didn't even have my gel pad completely on, but I just let her go ahead and close because I've gotten pretty accustomed to putting on the gel pads. So I'm just checking the outer corner, checking the inner corner, and then at this point, just as soon as I get those gel pads on, I say, okay, and now you'll close and you'll keep closed, because you'll notice if the client does open at this point, it can actually ruin your gel pad application. So you just want to tell them, once the gel pads are on, please stay closed. And I know when you're first starting, you're going to be a little bit nervous. You're going to be a little bit, you know, you're not going to be used to talking to people and instructing them on what you need them to do. But this is your job. You have to take it seriously. You want the absolute best results for your client. So don't be afraid to really instruct them. And most of the time, they don't really know what they're doing either. Like, they're laying there and they're getting their lashes done. But gel pads can be scary. And so usually if this was a new client, I would be like, okay, so now I'm just cleansing the lashes. And all I've used here for her is just my micellar water. And that's, honestly, it's primarily what I use. Okay, so now I'm giving my glue a shake. So you wanna shake it, if it's the first time using your glue for the day, you wanna shake it for a good 60 seconds. And for time purposes, I am letting this play in real time. I might edit the video so you guys don't have to watch every single little second of like the dead air. Now I am going to show you what I do here. So I have my hand set up, I have my glue. I do the dual-sided glue rings so that we're actually getting 2 uses out of 1 glue ring. We know the length that she's using, so I'm actually just going to press that right on the bottom edge of my tape so I still have a workspace here that I can use if I pick up too many lashes. This is going to be the length that I'm using, like this is going to be the majority length, so I have this one here, but then I'm still going to have my lash tray. And so I can either set this right beside the client's head, or if you don't have room beside the client's head, then you just set it on your trolley, and you just bring your trolley nice and close to you. Okay, and then we're just going to go ahead and start lashing. So in my right hand, I like using a curved or oh my gosh, I'm terrible with the names. I just call it a curved tweezer, and then in my left hand, I'm using a straight tweezer. And then, like I said, because when you're first starting, I would recommend just doing half sets. You're going to start on the outer corner and then just work into the 3rd quarter of the eye. And right now I'm just applying the classic. And then you'll notice that I don't brush the client's lashes before I start lashing. I don't find it necessary. If you have a client that has really curly lashes or they're just out of control, you can certainly brush them if you feel like you have to. If anything, you can brush through with your tweezers so that you're not really having to pick up another spoolie. Or even when you clean them, you can use your micro swab to kind of try to tame them. And then on the topic of makeup, if your client arrives with makeup, usually I say that's okay, as long as they're not wearing mascara. So somewhere in your consultation, your text messages, you know, if you're going to use Square, the booking system, I will link my QR code. You'll get $1,000 off transactions, and you will get, I forget what else they do. I love Square because they offer so many free services. All you have to do is order their reader, and so if you ever needed to process payments via credit card, you would use their reader. But the amazing thing is that you can still use all of their features like the booking system and their website, which are both free, without actually using their payment processing system. And so you just order it, create an account with them, and honestly, I only use a credit card to process payments like the odd time online through my website, or if a client is purchasing a really big service like lip tattooing, for instance. And then even then, they only charge you 2.6% per transaction. There's no monthly fee for using the Square reader. And so I really love it. But you can use them for the booking system because it sends your clients a text message and an email. So you can set how frequent you would like to text them, but they send reminders. So I send an email 24 hours before the appointment to remind my client, and then it sends a text message, I think an hour or 20 minutes before the appointment. And so in either one of those reminders, you could also, well, I suppose in the email reminder 24 hours before, which you can set at any time you like, you could remind your client then, please arrive mascara free. Mascara will ruin the bond of the glue. It doesn't matter how well you've washed them. There's something in mascara that really stays behind on the natural lashes. And so minimum 24 hours, ideally no mascara for 3 days beforehand. But yeah, at least 24 hours before the appointment, no mascara. If they're wearing like eyeliner, that doesn't bother me. It's got to be oil free. If they have a full face of makeup, again, it's not really a bother to me. I don't really care. There's the odd time if their makeup is really dry, like if they're just wearing like a powder foundation, for instance, where the gel pads will not stick. In that case, you'll just have to tell them, sorry, I'm gonna have to wipe your under eye with a makeup remover wipe. And so it's a good idea to have makeup removers or baby wipes on hand. And I like the wipe just for the convenience. And then if that client is really powdery, like I don't find it an issue with like some of the cream or the liquid foundations. Gel pads tend to stay, so I'm not a big stickler about makeup, but I know some artists out there are. So it's all up to you. I'm pretty chill. I go with the flow. I get the job done and I make it work. Okay, so now I have enough classic lashes on there that I am gonna switch to the volume. So now we're switching over to our volume. So you guys all know how I do volume lashes. So I'm the type where I kind of poke the bottom and then we're just pulling up. You're only dipping the very tip of the base here in the glue, so you can barely see the glue that I have on there. The reason being, if you're dipping your base too deep in the glue, it's going to close your fan. Okay, so I had a very small amount, so I had to re-dip, and that's totally fine because I had such a small amount the first time. It's okay to re-dip. And again, the second time I just dipped the tiny, little base in there. And then I'm picking up more. Okay, so this is what I was saying. If you go to pick up a fan and it breaks apart like that, that's fine. I'll still pick it up. I'll place my one little volume on, And then you can pick up another volume. Okay, so that's another easy way to do it. It saves you a lot of time rather than, you know, trying to put that broken piece back down. Just place it anyways. Dip it, place it, and create your own little handmade fan piece by piece. Just the way it goes sometimes. I've been doing lashes for 7 years, and to this day, I will still make fans like that. But this is why I like the easy fans, because even then I picked up some lashes. They weren't in a perfect position, they weren't in a perfect shape at all, but then I just played around a little with it and it's good. Okay, so see how simple that is? You're gonna have to play around and find, you know, your style of lashing for the fans. Easy fans, I think, why I like them is because of the way that I like to make fans. I'm pretty simple, I'm pretty basic, I don't like a lot of messing around. I just like to get the job done. See, this one is kind of closed here on the right side, so what I'm gonna do, my left side is okay. I'm gonna come into the middle and I'm just gonna pull the right side like this. And then you just kind of pull it into the shape that you want. Okay, so once again, I picked up a grouping that wasn't perfect, but that's okay with me. And I'm isolating and sliding in. Okay, and so that right side is pretty open, so I'm just gonna grab one of my singles and then I'll just slide it behind to fill up that space that was right there. See? So now that's a perfect little 4D fan. So even this method of kind of just willy-nilly throwing fans together, to me this is faster than trying to hand make your fans, trying to hand make them or hand twist them, because then you're putting down your tweezers or you're actually even using time outside of the appointment to create fans. You know, so it's up to you how you want to spend your time, for sure. I don't really have extra time to hand make fans, but I have seen a lot of people do that. They have one of those cases where you can make your fans and then set them into the case for later use. So that's an option if you want to practice your fan making. You can totally do that. I like this method because I still am getting my volume sets done in an hour and a half. Hybrid is usually about an hour and 15, and then my classic sets are an hour. Okay, so I see two naturals that have stuck together, so I'm just going to come in, pull them apart, isolate. Now that fan kind of got smushed, so I just pick it up. And then while we're talking about volume, I just have my prices set as like a volume set. I've seen other technicians price them as like 2D, 3D, 4D, 5D, 6D, and then pricing, you know, based on how many lashes are in your fan. So that's one way to do it. I kind of like to do 3 to 4 lashes per fan, and my clients seem okay with that. But I have had clients who want mega volume. I have had them leave and go to other artists. I don't like doing mega volume, so it's not even on my menu. If you're going to start doing mega volume, it's exactly like regular volume, but you're going to be using 0.03s and creating fans all the way up to 10D, I believe is what they do. So it's personal preference. It's all about just practicing technique. So see this one here? I put this on and it's a 3D fan. I came in between with my tweezers just to spread it out a little. Another option for you with volume is pre-made fans. So I think I'm going to be experimenting with those and looking into chatting with my manufacturer about getting some pre-mades. Back when I first started lashing, they were actually really expensive and really poorly made. Like the base of them had so much glue on them, you just couldn't put them on a person's lashes without, you know, causing real damage. They would be more like kind of like something you would wear with falsy glue rather than permanent, semi-permanent glue. But nowadays, the base of them is so great. Lots of them are just heat bonded, so they don't actually use glue to hold them together anymore. And so they're super lightweight. They are definitely an option that I'm looking into. It's all about speeding up your sets. Because of course, you know, if you're paying a little bit extra for the pre-mades, but saving yourself half an hour per set, then I think it's worth it. Okay, so that's a little demo of how I do my fans. Now I'm just going to talk a little bit about mapping. Okay, so for this particular set, this is just a half set. So I'm just gonna, let's pretend we're doing a full set. So this is the first quarter. This is about the midway point, and then the third and fourth quarters. So 1, 2, 3, 4. For our cat eye, of course, you would like do this whole section 12. You would do like 11 and 12 here if you wanted. You could even do 11 and 12 here, and then do this one 10 and 11s. That would be really cute. And then you would just do 10s here, and then 8 and 9 here. That's kind of what mapping looks like. When you get to the point though, when you've been lashing for a while, mapping again is one of those things I don't ever do. I never have, never will. I'll teach it just for the sake of you guys wanting to learn it probably when you're first starting out. If you're not a real visual type person, like in my mind, I can divide the eye into these sections visually. I just do it. So when I lash, you'll notice that I do one eye completely before moving on to the next one. When you're starting out, what I think you should probably do, especially since you're doing half sets, you can work eye to eye. The reason I don't like doing this is because I find it slows me down. I want to have my focal point focused on one side. I'm going to be bouncing around the eye the entire time just to ensure that my glue is getting enough time to dry in between. If you're working just in one section like this. So for instance, when you're starting to do your half sets, start on the outer corner, then put a lash somewhere in the middle here, then come to the middle, then come back to the outer corner, then go back to this side, then come back to the middle. That's how I would perform a half set. However, when you're starting, you can do one lash on the outer edge, one lash on the other outer edge, one lash kind of starting here in the section here, and then one here, one here, one here, one here, one here, and keep working back and forth, always remembering that you started with this eye, so that means you'll finish with this eye, just for symmetry's sake. And as you improve, you'll find that you don't really need a map anymore, only maybe for really special sets where, say for instance, you were doing like a wet look, or you wanted to create some really cute kind of wispy spikes. Then you would go like this, and you would say like, this spike is going to be 15, this spike is going to be 15, this spike 16, this spike 16, this spike 15, this spike 14, and then you would go ahead and do the rest with either like a hybrid or your volumes. And then I would recommend doing like 11s throughout if you're doing like a wet look. But you know where you can find a lot of really great maps is on Pinterest. I love Pinterest if you're looking for some cute maps. Okay, so next I wanted to demo removal. So I'm only going to be demoing, I'm not actually going to remove my beautiful hard work. So we have our remover. This is a cream remover. Okay, that's what it looks like. You're going to keep this top plastic part just to make sure that it has a nice seal when it's not in use. And then you will use your micro swab to apply the remover. Okay, so I'll just show you when you're picking that up. Oh. Okay, so what I would actually do with a removal, because you don't want to be dipping back into this unless you're using a clean spoolie every time. So what I would actually do is I would take out a glob and I would put it right into my glue ring, a clean glue ring, obviously. And then that way you are not having to dip back in. So you would just put this right into your glue ring, just like that. And then you're applying right to the base here where the extension meets the natural eyes. And you would allow that to sit for at least 5 minutes, do 5 minutes, and then do a little test, use your micro swab and see how that is working. And then for removal, what you actually do is you can use cotton swabs. I like using the micro swab for precision to apply it, but then when you're actually doing the removal, you can use cotton swabs because they're cheaper. For demo's sake, I'm going to use micro swabs because I don't want to get any of the fuzzies from the Q-tips in her lashes. But let's pretend we have our remover on there. Let's pretend that it's been sitting for 5 minutes. So to test, I'm going to go like this, and I'm going to see, are any of my lashes coming off? If a couple are coming off, then that's great. You can just kind of keep working through. If they're still hanging on pretty strong, you can reapply some more remover, or you can just leave it as is and just wait another 5 minutes and then go through, and you're just going to wipe it away. And then with the cotton swabs, they are much more absorbent, so they're really going to help clean that remover off. Once you have all of the remover off and your lashes are pretty much gone, there might be a couple lashes left, in which case you would come on in with your tweezers and then just use a basic banana peel to get those off. So I'll just demo that. So pretend this was still stuck on. So I'm going to grab the extension with one hand, and then I'm going to grab the natural lash, and I'm just going to pull that off just like that. If you're struggling to get it off, or you can't see the natural lash, then what I usually do is I'll go squeeze, 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 squeeze all the way down, and I'll keep kind of squeezing and squeezing, and that usually breaks the bond. And then what you can do is, let's pretend an extension is still, well, let's use this one. So say I'm doing my squeezing, Pretend I can't see my natural lash. Then I'll grab the base with my left hand, so make sure you're coming real vertical to the eye here so you're not squeezing the eyelid at all. And then you're gonna wiggle back and forth. So my right hand is wiggling back and forth, and then it just pops right off. So that's a great way to remove. I'm trying to think of anything else, so I'm just gonna add a couple more little volume fans here. Okay, so there I had too much glue, so I just dot, making sure I like my shape. Those ones I want to be a little more spread out. Just want to show you what a bigger fan looks like. There we go. Again, I'm just kind of pulling them to be a little bit wider. Okay. Then another reason I don't brush through, I'm sure I've said this in another video, is because I'm always doing this. I'm brushing through with my tweezers, so I don't find a need to use a spoolie. I just provide a spoolie in their Aftercare bag, and then I just be done with it, kind of thing. So some ideas for your Aftercare bag. I usually buy like bulk candy. You can go to somewhere like Canadian Wholesale Club. You can go to any grocery store for like individually packaged candies. Amazon, you just type in like bulk candy. Obviously you want them to be individually packaged. And then, so in my Aftercare bag, I also buy the Aftercare bags off of Amazon, and they're paper. So they're compostable or recyclable, which is nice. So I put in a spoolie, I put in the candy, and then I put in some sort of card. Like right now I'm doing like, what is it? Oh, I have a card with like a QR code, and then it has of course my business information. It has what other types of things we do here. So we have a loyalty program, and then we also have a refer a friend. So if they refer a friend, the friend gets $20 off their full set, and the client gets $20 off their fill. Of course, you can do $10, you can do whatever you want to do. Referrals are like the best way to get business. Word of mouth, that's the best way to get business. So I kind of try to do something generous, because then you know they're really going to tell somebody about it, and that person's going to be like, holy, $20 off, that's crazy. And so they're way more inclined to do it. And then lots of times that person will stay with you. If they really enjoy your work, they're going to stay with you. So that $20 pays for itself, you know, after their first visit, really. If they come back to you and they're a client for life, you're making your money back for sure. So don't be afraid to be a little bit generous. People are going to see you as someone who really values their clients and who wants to have loyal clients, and someone who cares about maintaining that relationship. Your clients are everything. They're honestly the reason that you're able to have a business, and so treat them like family. Treat them how you would your friends and your family. Start to really care about them, ask them questions. In the Square booking system, you can actually write notes about your client. So right in there, there's a note when you create a client file. So you can type, once the appointment's done, just type in there like a note about what is their length, what style do they like, write anything that you've talked about, so that the next time they come, you can ask them questions like, oh, you have a dog, how, like you write down their dog's name or like little facts about them, and they'll be so impressed that you've remembered things about them. And it's just part of that like trust building. They're gonna think that you really care about them, and honestly, you do start to care about them. You do start to get excited to see them, you know, every month, and they become like family. So that's the part of this business that brings me so much joy, is creating those relationships and those friendships that honestly, some of my clients have been with me for 7 years, and I get to miss them. I get to like be so curious about how they are, how their kids are, and it's just really cool. It's kind of the part of this business that I didn't really expect. Okay, so I just want to give this a little spray, and I want to show you guys what a half set looks like, and then I'll just stop recording and continue on and finish her set. Half sets are also something you guys can offer to your clients. I've often actually thought about it because they would take less time and they would still look really cute. Obviously, it would be just for like your clients that have dark hair. Okay, so go ahead and open and then look up towards the camera. Does it feel okay?
Yeah, I fell asleep.
Oh, did you? Okay, so look up towards the camera. Good.
Am I allowed to open the other one?
Yep. Okay, so look up again. Yeah, there you go. See how cute that half set looks? It's very beautiful. And this is why I'm suggesting that when you're first starting, honestly, just do half sets on your clients. They're gonna appreciate it. Okay, close.
Can I look?
Yeah, they're going to appreciate it because a lot of the feedback that I get from my clients is like, oh, I've gone to a new person and
This is cute.
it's cute, right?
Yeah.
And their feedback is, to me, someone who's doing their lashes, is that the number one thing they hate about going to a new tech is that it takes 3 hours, it takes 4 hours. No one should be subjected to lay there for that long. Like, that's just unbearable. So do a half set. What you can say to your clients is, did you want to book for an hour or did you want to book for 2 hours? And then that way they can kind of decide, okay, how long do I really want to commit to lying here? And just let them know it's just going to be the outer corner for now, so that I can practice my muscle memory, just so that I can practice applying the gel pads and practicing all my steps. And honestly, it's such a lovely way to start. So if you guys have any questions, of course, reach out, but I hope you enjoyed this video.